Well, hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Tropical plants at 53 degrees north of the equator. We're here in my freestanding greenhouse. I try and grow and hopefully help to thrive the various plants from various parts of the world, but mostly along the tropics. This is going to be my inaugural greenhouse tour, and hopefully I'm not going to go into too much depth over it, but hopefully I can show you some of the things that I've built up over the summer that I'm going to try and help get through an English winter where the average temperatures tend to be somewhere below 10 degrees, very often well below zero. So this is my journey along the way, and hopefully you'll be able to see how I'm doing it, and maybe if you've got some ideas you can comment down below and we can all improve together. So come with me on a little tour and let's see what we can do. I'm not going to go into too much depth over the various plants. I'll tell you what they are if I can remember them and if I've got a label in them, and a little bit about them, but not too much, just to kind of give you an idea of the geography of the place, and where I'm keeping these things and what they're doing at the moment, because at the end of the day, plants is what it's all about. So I'm going to try and flip you around here. I've not yet discovered a quick way of doing this on a phone, so bear with me. Okay, right, it seems I have to stop the video briefly while I do that. So there's the double doors. So as we come in through the door, we'll start off, I'll just give you kind of a quick sweep around. And I know this can be it can be quite tricky on the eye if it's done very quickly, so I'll try and do it slowly, fairly slowly. And see that the greenhouse it's certainly not full, but there's quite a bunch of things, and I've learned from my last one to turn all the fans off because it becomes rather inaudible when I don't. So we'll start off on the left with the bougainvillea, inspired by holidays to sunnier climes, and this is the climber in the corner here. It's a hybrid, but it's it was an absolutely gorgeous hybrid I bought from a specialist nursery, and I have had quite a few troubles with it. I was told that you treat it like a pelargonium, down the bottom there in the pot, and what I discovered was that it's very easy to overwater them, and that was one reason that I had a lot of leaf drop. You can just see along here it's completely bare, and that was extending right the way up actually, but there's a lot of new growth on it now. We managed to discover what the problem was. So firstly it was overwatering, so I tend to try and make it so that it completely dries out before I water it, and I leave it dried for a couple of days. But the other thing, as you can just see at the bottom, I've got some crocks underneath, and I'm lifting the pot up there, and that simple little little tactic there, two centimeters lifting the pot up, that was what made the difference. It obviously doesn't like being watered and then sitting for a little while in that water, even though it does eventually suck it up. It doesn't like doing that, as a lot of plants don't, but for some reason it didn't occur to me. So we've got a mounted orchid here. It's one of those big long names that I can't remember. Is it Rinca Stylus? No, Neostylus. Neostylus lucerneri. It says blue on it, but the eBay seller that I bought it off, well, we won't go into that, but this is what arrived, and I've only found out obviously 8 months later when it flowered that it wasn't in fact blue, it was white. The yellowing ones are just flowers that are fading now. So we've got my one and only cattleya in the corner. I've got a couple more cattleyas on the way. I was hoping they're going to come today actually, and I'll do my first unboxing there. That one I bought at an auction at the local orchid society, and all I've had from it in probably 18 months these two leaves here. That's it, nothing else. That was another learning experience in that I lost most of the roots, totally my fault, but now you can see I've got it as well drained as I possibly can, because cattleyas, as I've discovered, like, yes, they like to be wet through, but when they have been wet through, then they like to totally dry out before you wet them again. So especially this time of year, I do tend to leave that a few days. So I've got it as well drained as possible, and it's put a lot more roots out, as you can see there. Actually, at the speed I'm doing this, it's going to take rather a long time, so I'll try and speed up a little bit. So I've got several of these Nepenthes. Absolutely love carnivorous plants, especially these with the pictures. These are only babies. I've learnt all about my carnivorous plants from Brad's greenhouse. If you're into those kind of things, he's the guy to look up. He's absolutely brilliant, and you know, I've been watching his videos for several years. So I've got this one is Ventrata. I bought that because it was supposedly a big, a very fast grower. This one is Ventricosa, which I've had a couple of years, not really doing a great deal. It is growing, but just slowly. And another new one over here, Fusca, our little baby. And I'm just going to move you over, seeing as we're on the Nepenthes. The plan is, again, inspired by Brad, the plan is that I want to hang them from the roof up there, from these poles I've put along. Just see those poles there, and try and get it as jungly as possible. So this is my pride and joy over here. This is Nepenthes Rebecca Soper, which I believe is a cross of two of the, I don't know whether the species or the, I don't know all the terminology yet, because like I did point out, I am still learning this game. So yeah, these pictures are fabulous. I'm really pleased with them. You can see all the, I guess it's nectar, some kind of sweet liquid on there to attract the insects, and then they fall in there to the slippery death. So I've got two of those. I did split it off. So let's just go back. So yeah, Nepenthes, I'm planning on getting lots of those. I've got another one on the way. And then we have various orchids. This one's a Rhynchostylis Celestis Albert. Not really done much. This one is a Ricara Francis Fox. It has got some new growth on it. I'm hoping to get some flowers on that. I'm not sure what this is. I don't know whether it's a flower spike, because it's never flowered for me yet. That was inspired by one of Miss Orchid Girl. I forgot to mention her the other day. She's definitely an inspiration as well. I've been watching her stuff for a long time. It was my daughter that reminded me. Make sure you mention Miss Orchid Girl, she says. For some reason, it just slipped my mind. So yeah, so this one over here, this Lotus, I think it's Firebird. Apparently it's a native of the Canary Islands, and it had one flower on it. It's done a lot of growth, so hopefully we should get some flowers at some point. So moving on down. Lots of these that you can see in flower, they look very similar. The flowers are different. These are Streptocarpus. These are very, very easy. They're great. They're really, really easy to propagate. You just basically cut a leaf up. I'll show you that at one point if you don't already know how to do it. They come in all sorts of different colours, and they can cope with sunshine as long as they don't dry out. They do grow in, I believe they can grow in running water, but they grow in damp places, shady places. Yeah, they're great. So I'll definitely recommend those. They just flower all year round, and I mean all year round. So we've got various orchids, Encyclia radiata, that's flowered a couple of times. Fairly new purchase here. This one is hibiscus. So I've seen a bit of hibiscus over these. I've had one before actually. I'm a little bit worried about this leaf. I'm not sure why it's looking like that. I don't know if it's the light or the age of it. I mean, you would say it's deficient in something, but I only just got it from the specialist nursery, so I wouldn't think that's the case. And I have stuck a feeding stick in it. There's definitely no bugs on it, no spider mite, so I'll just have to keep my eye on that. A couple of plumeria. otherwise known as frangipani, with the worrying yellow leaves, but I think that's just the time of year. Ooh, wow, I'm excited. Look at this, it's about to open. I've been waiting for this ONCIDIUM Sharry Baby to open for, I think, most of my life, it feels like anyway. I went away in August and I was thinking that it was going to flower while I was away. Gosh, how wrong I was. I've waited all this time because it actually, you know, the spikes were up and it looked like it was about to do something, and then nothing. It's carried on growing, but very, very, very slowly. But of course the plus side to that is that it should be in flower for a long time, and everybody raves over Sharry Baby because apparently it smells of chocolate, and I don't know anybody who doesn't want to smell chocolate. Come on, get real. So Cambria up there. This one's been wonderful. Again, it's just flowered and flowered and flowered and chucked loads of flower spikes up. Forget what it's called. Burgera. These blooms are fading on this one. Dendrobium Sarnuk Thailand Black. What else have we got? ONCIDIUM Sotoanum. Smells very nice. Again, chuffed to bits with this Zygopedilum. Another one of those. See it and think, got to have it. I was told that this filled the greenhouse with fragrance, but well, it's certainly not doing that. It might do that if the sun actually comes out and shines on it. But so far, the most fragrant is actually this one. That did fill the greenhouse with fragrance when the sun was on it. Another auction one over here. I can't remember that one either. I guess doing this will help me remember them. It's one of these things that you look at it and then you look at the plant a lot, but I don't tend to drag out the label very often. Dendrobium nobile star class. Grows like the clappers. Seems pretty indestructible, to be honest. Tucked away there, just done a repot for this one. Dendrobium kingianum, that's another one from the auction. Over here we've got one of several Tradescantias. This one's a red jewel. Now here's an odd thing. When that came, and I was told that these were very, very easy to propagate, and when it came in the post, it was a tiny little thing, and some of the shoots had actually dropped off it. So all I did was stuck them in a pot, and this is what happened. Ta-da! So would you believe that the one on the left, or the one on the right, is the parent, and the one on the left is the new one that actually fell off in transit. Now you kind of wouldn't think that they were from the same plant. I suppose that's the vigour of youth, I guess. But yeah, they're so easy to propagate. All you need to do is stick them in a pot, and that's it. I mean, look underneath, look at the colour underneath. Absolutely superb. And I'll show you another Tradescantia just over here. These little ones, these variegated ones, these are apparently the same. That is the same as that one and that one. So there seems to be lots and lots of variation. I mean, that's the same plant even. Lots of variation in the leaves, and if you look underneath, look at that colour, isn't that wonderful? This is also known as wandering dew because it spreads very, very easily. So this one is tricolour, Tradescantia tricolour. I know there are some garden varieties as well that you can get. Black-eyed Susan flowered really well over the summer. This climber in the corner, I forget what this one's called, so I can find the label. Dipladenia sandera. That's done fabulously well. That's been again in flower all summer long and most of autumn, and doesn't show any signs of slowing down at all. It's actually going all the way up, 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 along there to there, and that's where it finishes. Oh, just there, that's it. Okay. Now I'm a big fan of ferns, so down here I've got 1 or 2 tropical ferns, but remember the criteria for the tropical greenhouse is it must be non-hardy, it must be tender, and it must die if it gets touched by frost. We've got some cyclamen. Having just said that, they buck the trend, they don't mind frost, but I just like them. It is only a guideline, it's not set in stone. So another Tradescantia, this one is just an ordinary coloured one. This was supposed to be the red jewel, and for some reason it started growing without the variegation. I suppose you could say it's reverted, but we'll give it a go. It's green. Some mounts. We've got a Phalaenopsis mount there, which I'm quite worried about, because when I first started this, somebody at the Orchid Society said to me, well, you've got to decide whether your greenhouse is going to be a warm greenhouse, intermediate, or cold. And of course, you know, I never thought of it at all after that, and I bought plants based on whether I liked it or not. Never even wondered whether it was you know, a warm grower, cold grower, whatever. So what I ended up with anyway here, I'm keeping the minimum of 12 degrees. It probably goes at the moment up to about 18 during the day, but I'm, I guess, intermediate, but I'm pushing the limits. So there are some plants that really it's going to be too warm for them in summer, and some plants that it's going to be too cold for them in winter. And the Phalaenopsis are the ones really that I'm worried that they're going to be just too cold in winter. But we'll see. We'll give them a go. There's another 2 Phalaenopsis down here. And I put them there because they might be a little bit warmer there. But we'll see. They're only cheap. It's worth a try. A couple of Bulbophyllum Elizabeth Ann Buckleberry up here. Seem great at producing leaves, but as yet, no flowers. Not sure what I'm doing wrong there, so if anybody's got any advice on that. Dendrobium nobile, all the way from B&Q. I've kept it over 12 months and it's flowered again for me, so I'm quite happy with that. There's another Dendrobium nobile here. This is something like Firebird. Gorgeous orange flowers. Dendrobium Stardust Firebird. I'm hoping that's going to do something for me. It has had a few problems. We've had slugs in the pots, and we've had mealybug on it, bit of scale as well. We've sprayed the life out of it, so hopefully that will recover. Some more carnivorous plants here. These are various sundews. One sundew there, another one there. They're just repotted, so they're not really got going yet. Pelargonium there, which I've cut right back. A few more pelargoniums that I've cut back for the winter. Now, where did I get that advice from? That was from Mr. Pelargonium. So if you're into your pelargoniums, look up Mr. Pelargonium on his YouTube channel. He's got great advice. He's the guy to turn to if you want to know what to do. So that's what I did. These are huge plants, and I cut them all back. I made the mistake of thinking that it's probably like a typical English shrub, and treating them like that, in as much as I thought the bigger it was, the more flowers I was going to get. But no, Mr. Pelargonium put me right. As it turns out, the bigger they get, the pelargoniums, the less flowers they actually produce. And I've got one down here. Now this one down here was probably about 2 foot tall, a couple of feet wide, and I had just no flowers. By the time it got around to flowering, it was getting into autumn, and they just rotted off. So I've cut that. I did cut that right back. It's like shot up again. I've not actually watered it for a few weeks, but it doesn't seem to mind. What my plan is to get it out of this big pot and cut down the roots. I think he's got a video on how to do that, so I'm going to look that up and see if I can reduce it in size, because it's pointless having a great big pot like that and a tiny little plant on it. It just going to look very strange. So what else have we got? I do like, I mean, this might be hardy, I don't know, but it's just something I quite liked. Cyperus involucratus, otherwise known as an Egyptian papyrus plant. Thought that was quite cool. We've got a Brugmansia over here. It's had all sorts of problems. Anything you can think of, it's had it. I've chopped it right down because it just wasn't thriving at all. Some of the problems I had with it, it's just like a martyr to red spider mite. It's just, you've got to spray it every single week, otherwise they just take over, including the trunk. It's very, very easy to overwater them. They like lots of drainage. That was another problem. That's why I put it on stones at the bottom there, because it was just not draining properly. And since I've been spraying it every week, we solved the drainage problem. It seems to be okay again now, and it seems to be growing, even though I guess now's not the time of year I want it to grow, but never mind. That was a present down there. That's an agapanthus, so hopefully that'll flower. I'm trying to get that through the winter. That'll flower next year. A couple of Masdevallias. That was my first orchid, that one. Gorgeous. This is a Masdevallia ignea. Gorgeous red. Well, I don't know if they're red really. They're a very vibrant red flowers that we get on that. There's another Masdevallia snowbird over here, currently doing its thing. That's gorgeous. Oh, I could do with more of them. I seem to have a good climate for Masdevallias. Because it is fairly shaded here. I've got, in fact, before I show you those ferns, if you just look up, look at the left roof there, and then look at the right. Now, whether the camera will pick this up or not, like the right is a lot more dark than the left. Now, whether the camera will, you know, brighten it up or I don't know, but I'll just show you why before we carry on with our talk. Bear with me. Right, the reason that side of the greenhouse is shaded is because of these huge sycamore trees towering right over my head, which are planted on the other side of the fence, not on my side. So that means I get the sun round that side of the greenhouse, but not on the other. Just pop back in. Okay. So that obviously has quite a big effect on where I put plants and what happens to them and how they grow. So back to ferns. So we've got several ferns there. One or two of them, like this one, was actually growing in a pot. It was really a tiny little thing, but I took it out of a pot, an orchid pot, and it appears to be a variety of that one and the same as that one as well. I've not put a label in it yet. I can't remember what it's called. It's a sort of phlebodium. Seems to be several phlebodiums around the place. Cymbidium there, that flowered really nicely over summer. Hoya over here, another of inspired by Brad, but again it's not really done anything. Well, it has. It's sent these long tendrils out, but they've stalled. You can see where they end over there, and they've not done anything for a couple of months now. Again, set one over there and then stopped. So whether it's just not mature enough, we'll see. I've got some streps in those propagation chambers there, just doing their thing. So I'll give them to some friends. And then I've come into the end, so I've got a little Dendrobium Cuthbertsonii. That has really put a lot of growth on, and I was told that they were supposed to keep damp, you know, treat them like a Masdevallia, but believe it or not, the roots rotted. So not that damp, I guess. So I've ended up sticking it in another pot with better drainage, and put it on some stones there to make sure that it does actually, the water does pass through. I found that pretty much anything that they say keep damp, is, well, certainly in this climate anyway, it's an over-exaggeration, because this is a Miltoniopsis, you know, like the lovely pansy type flowers. Another one that I was told to keep damp. Well, same thing happened. The roots rotted. You can see how we've got the accordion-like growth, which apparently can mean either overwatering or underwatering. But when I unpotted it, it hardly had any roots. So I've cut all the dead ones off, and it's carried on growing. So I'm hopefully, and I'm trying to make sure that, not that it like dries out so that it's gasping, but so that at least looking around the pot I can see that it's dried. And I know if I can still see water here on the stones, I know it's too wet to do it again. What else have we got? This one's about to flower, ONCIDIUM sweet sugar. Not quite sure why it's got yellow leaves. That's again, I was watching one of Roger's orchids, and he said that somebody told him that if you keep them in too much sunshine, I think that was ONCIDIUM's, I might be wrong, it's highly possible, highly probable, that the leaves can go yellow. So I've put it in a bit more shady spot. Lovely cephalotus here, that's going to need repotting soon this winter. Absolutely stunning, it's put a load of growth on this year. Some mixed sundews there, everybody likes the sundews. Some plumeria seeds, they seem to be doing okay. Another one that's about to flower. I think this is what's so good about the tropical plants, they don't seem to care that it's winter, or that it's an English winter. This one's an ONCIDIUM Twinkle Cinnamon, so this will be its second lot of blooms for me. This was the one that had the phlebodium in it, and again when I took the phlebodium out, I also had a fern in it. Would you believe? I'll show it you. See that hulking great thing there? I repotted it, I took it out and repotted it, and it's grown into a huge fern. So it had these two plants in it, and they did look quite nice actually, but obviously they was taking over the pot. So I ended up with a lot of dead roots on this, so I've unpotted it and it's started into growth again. You can see the nice greeny leaves underneath. So what else have we got? Another another one, my one and only Coelogene cristata, recently repotted. It's put a lot of growth on, so I'm hoping we're going to get some. We've got some big fat bulbs there, hoping we're going to get something on that at some point. And I think that is it. Another fern here, asparagus fern. So that's it really for now. Oh no. Looking up, we have, what's that? Another Coelogene up there. I think that's Speciosa. And I've got a Vanda up there, which was another Orchid Society auction. Couldn't think of the word then for a minute. Never flowered for me. I bought it with a flower spike on, which probably fell off, but it has grown massively. So things are looking good. It's got some huge roots on it now, which it didn't have before. And you can just see that little nubbin inside there. That looks like it might at some point turn out to be a flower spike. Well, it's been like that for a year. I got very excited about it and then it just stopped and didn't do anything. Okay, so the first inaugural tour of the tropical greenhouse at 53 degrees north of the equator. And oh, missed that. How did I miss that? Yeah, love that. I know I've showed it once before. This is a Brassia. It's desperate for a repot because I think the media absolutely reeks of mushrooms. So that's apparently, so I'm told, is an indication it needs to be repotted. But it doesn't seem to be minding at the moment. Brilliant flowers. When they're over, then I'll give it a repot. So that's that. So what have we got coming? Well, hopefully this week I've got a couple of Cattleyas, both in flower, both from an eBay seller called Spice Exotics. I've heard people say speciotics, but it looks like spiceotics to me. I don't know. Perhaps somebody can correct me on that one, but it definitely spelt like spiceotics. I always get all my orchids from there now. Again, not affiliated with them. They've no idea who I am except that I give them lots of money. And I always buy orchids in bloom now. I don't buy them when they're not in bloom, simply because I've tried that once before and been stung, and I'll show you why. Again, just ignorance on my part, really. There's two Dendrobium partheniums here, and they came all the way from Thailand. I don't know what I was expecting. I didn't really read it properly. I just looked at the photographs, and this is what I ended up with. They didn't have any leaves on when they came. They have now. They've got some good growths on, and there's another one down there, but I believe they could be 10, 12, even 15 years before they flower. So that was learning by experience, I believe they call that. So now I only buy flowers in bloom. Why? Well, it shows you that it's already a blooming age, isn't it? It must be mature enough to bloom if it's already in bloom. The other reason is if I buy one or two, he says, one or two a month, then I know that in the coming year I've always got to have something in flower if I manage to look after it and not kill it in a British winter. So that's it. I'm just going to turn you around again. Bear with me. Okay, well, that's the first tour of my tropical greenhouse at 53 degrees north of the equator in a town called Wigan in the northwest of England. And if you'd like to see and come on the journey with me and see more videos like this, then please like and subscribe to my channel, and I'll be really happy to have you along for the journey. If anybody's got any comments to make, then you know where to do that. Whether it's advice you want to give me or a question you want to ask me, I'll be more than happy to hear from you, and hopefully all will be well. This time next year we'll be looking at a tropical greenhouse absolutely brimming with tropical plants and bird song, and I'll be able to come in here, get lost amongst all the foliage and all the blooms and all the scents, and feel like I truly am in a nice warm place and not stuck in miserable, dreary, rainy, wet England. So yeah, that's it for now, and hopefully I'll see you on the next one. Bye.